Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome into Morning in the Valley. I'm Jeff Bidwell. It is Monday, October the 6th, which means we are now count them, 4 weeks away from the college basketball season getting underway. And it's time. It's time. 28 days. Let's do it. Ben Jacobson, head coach of the Northern Iowa Panthers, will be with us here in just a couple of minutes. Been trying to get him on all summer, finally able to get our schedules to match up, and looking forward to having him be on, as certainly high expectations for the UNI program coming up this year. We'll talk about all of that and a little bit more with Coach Jacobson coming up in just a couple of minutes. If you haven't done so already, please head to YouTube, subscribe for free to our program over there. Like, share, comment, all that stuff, where we will continue our preseason team-by-team breakdown from the men's and women's side coming up on Wednesday. We've got all those over there on our YouTube channel, Morning in the Valley. So feel free to subscribe there. We've got all our past shows, interview clips, and our preseason previews as well. So hope you'll give us, if you have not done so already, give us a peek over there. All right, we've got headlines this morning. We've got commitments this morning. And we're going to start on the women's side, and we're going down under. Ashley Monahan, a 6'3" forward out of Perth, Australia, announced her commitment over the weekend to Kate Popovic-Goss and the Bradley Braves women's program. A young lady that is going to be playing professionally this year down in the NBL 1 league in Australia. We've talked a lot about the NBL 1 a little bit over the year. If you've paid attention, especially on the Murray State side, Caitlin Young played in that league. And so Ashley will play down there 1 year of professional basketball, and then she will come to the States to begin her collegiate journey next year. Spent a lot of time this summer, was playing in that Run for the Roses event over in Louisville, just part of the AAU circuit, and playing stateside here, got some attention, and got the best attention, apparently, from the fine folks at Bradley, as she will begin her collegiate career coming up next season. We're starting to see a little bit of a trend on the women's side, as well as that we're getting commitments for next year, for 2027 already, for kids just going into their junior year, or in their junior year right now of high school. And Northern Iowa has gotten a 2027 commitment from Campbell Schultz. She is from Iowa, and just another outstanding prep player from the area that Tanya Warren has been able to reel in. So we have continued to see this trend of kids that are just like, I don't need to hear anymore. I'm just ready. I'm ready to go right now. And so sometimes you see these offers early when, sophomores and even sometimes juniors, you're always curious, is it a committable offer? Obviously this one was, as Campbell Schultz has committed to UNI, although it's going to be a little while, 2 years before we'll get a chance to see her, as she is just entering her junior year of high school. All right. The big news today, really the big news all week, I think we can all be excited about, is that we have college basketball this weekend. We have actual, real, live college basketball that we are going to get the opportunity to see, as exhibition games are beginning. And the first ones out of the gate, Drake's men, Bradley's men will both be playing. Drake will be on the road at Wichita State. Bradley will be going up to Green Bay, Brian Wardle's old stomping ground, and playing up there. And so I was just doing some general schedule maintenance, and I was a little, surprised. I think just how it's all shaken out. This is the first year, of course, that teams are able to do public exhibition games against Division I opponents. In the past, and still to this day, you still can do it, is that you are able to do the secret scrimmages against other Division I opponents. This year, though, you can finally, charge some admission and put them on under the lights, and people can see them. And look, it's and play it in a 40-minute. This is a game, even though it is an exhibition. I understand the merits of the secret scrimmages simply because, look, coaches want to be able to do stuff sort of under the dark of night. They want to be able to experiment and play without any sort of even the most implied uh, I don't know if pressure is the right word, but just sort of a pressure of like we have to perform well because there's people watching and we have eyeballs on us. And it's not it's like, look, you can stop the game. You know, we can go through stop a scrimmage. We can go through teaching points. Like I get all of that, but certainly for the sport to be able to really start building anticipation, yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, it's awesome. And some of the games that we're going to get to see. I mean, Illinois State's going to Illinois. They're going to go to Northwestern. The I guess the part that uh, Indiana State's going to Butler. The part of this that I find interesting is that once it's all done, and this is strictly off information off every school's home website, and so that's if there's any deviation of fact and what I'm about to say, it's just because this is what I got off the 11 conference websites. Is that on the men's side, there are only 4 teams that have opted to play 2 public exhibitions. And that is Bradley, it is Illinois State, it is Southern Illinois, and it is Murray State. SIU, Bradley, and Illinois State are the only 2 that are playing that will play 2 Division I opponents in their exhibitions. Again, Bradley plays Green Bay and SLU. Illinois State has Illinois Northwestern. SIU has Austin P and Lindenwood. And then Murray State will play Xavier, and then Division II Northern State, that is head coach Ryan Miller's alma mater. Every other school, all the other 7 schools, well, let me take that back. 6 of the 7 remaining schools will play 1 exhibition and then have 1 secret scrimmage. And then UIC appears to be doing 2 secret scrimmages. So it's just interesting to see the philosophy, I guess, of how you want to attack your preseason. And yes, we have an opportunity to play. Murray State's going to go play Xavier in a couple of weeks, and yes, you have that opportunity. They could have scrimmaged Xavier uh, secretly, but they're gonna do it under the lights. And so I'm fascinated, and we're going to talk with Ben Jacobson about that. They're going to be playing a non-Division I Upper Iowa for their public exhibition game, and then they're going to go dark and they're going to have a secret scrimmage. On the women's side, you have 3 schools that are doing 2 secret scrimmages in Belmont, Indiana State, and SIU. And looking at it, there's only Bradley will play St. Louis, and UIC will play Eastern Illinois. Those are the only Division I exhibition games you're seeing on the women's side. And then you have every single women's team has at least 1 secret scrimmage. There's just nobody's playing 2 public exhibition games. So a differing thought process, I guess, between the women's coaches, the men's coaches. That is the way to attack the offseason. And for Ben Jacobson and his bunch, again, they will on November, and they're actually pushing it back. They will play Upper Iowa on November the 1st. Their first game against Cal State Northridge is not until November the 6th. So obviously they'll sneak that secret scrimmage in coming up here soon. But it's just exciting to see that we have basketball this weekend, and these are Division I games as well, which I think is all the better. It's going to be, I think we're going to have overreaction Monday about, what did we see from Drake at Wichita? And actually, I haven't even seen if there's going to be TV coverage of these games. I know some schools will publicly air these games. You're going to have some schools that just won't. And that's going to be sort of by, I guess the home school is going to be the one that makes the decision of whether or not they want to stream that, and if it's just going to be something that is live for the folks that pay attendance, but pay for their ticket to be in attendance. But if we get a chance to publicly see Drake at Wichita and we get to see Bradley at Green Bay, we will certainly all have all kinds of opinions on Monday about what these teams are and what these teams will be as we move forward into the 2025-26 season. But again, you are going to see kids play in these games that you would never see play at any other time. And you're going to see rotations and combinations of lineups thrown together at the same time. You're never going to see, but that's the joy of the exhibitions. That's the joy of the scrimmages, and we'll get to see it. All right, our guest of honor has arrived. He is the dean of head coaches in the Missouri Valley Conference, getting ready to enter season number 20 as the head coach of the UNI Panthers. He is Ben Jacobson. Coach Jake, how are you today?
Hey, doing great. Yep. How about you?
I'm doing great. Glad to have you with us. We're talking schedules. We're talking exhibition games. If my math is right off your schedule, you've got Upper Iowa for an exhibition game, and then one scrimmage. Is that how you're attacking it?
Yeah. We South Dakota's coming over here 2 weeks from this past Saturday, so we'll scrimmage them here at our place, and then the exhibition game against Upper Iowa is on November 1st.
What was the thought process now that you had an opportunity this year with the rules changes of you could do a public exhibition against a Division I team if you wanted to, and you could do two of those if you wanted to, but you went 1-1 with one secret one still. What was the thought process there?
Yeah, the Upper Iowa scrimmage, we wanted to get the guys out in front of a crowd. You know, we've got some new guys up front, and Tristan Smith and Ismail Diouf and Marino, our big fella from Croatia. So we knew we were going to have some new guys up front. You know, Will Hornseth is a really good young player for us, and was a freshman. Had a nice freshman year last year, and now going into his sophomore year, he's going to be our starter at the center position. And so just knowing we were going to have new and young and not as much experience as we had at those positions, wanted to get them out in front of the crowd, and then I still like being able to do. It's not going to be closed door scrimmage with South Dakota. Okay, we're not going to advertise it and do the sell tickets and do to your question, but the doors will be open if people want to come in and watch. They can, but that gives us the opportunity to do some different things, right? With that what used to be the closed door scrimmage, you were able to kind of mix and match some things. And so I like for our team, our roster right now, I like being able to do one of both.
We've started fall practices. You got a few under your belt so far. What have been the early returns on what you've seen from your guys so far?
Yeah, I like our roster a lot. We had a little bit of both this weekend. We weren't guys worked hard on Saturday, but we didn't get as much done as we were capable of getting done in terms of our attention to detail. And now it was practice number 6, and after you have an entire month of September, with the workouts and banging into each other, and it's so different now as all of us know. It used to start on October 15th, and that was truly the start of practice, right? You didn't have the individual workouts. You didn't have all the so the guys, they get pretty used to playing against each other. And after 4 or 5 of the official practices, you already get a little bit of that feeling. So we had that on Saturday, but we came back yesterday and had probably our best of the 7 practices that we've had. So this group works hard. We a lot of experience in our backcourt, and their leadership has increased. And love what Trey Campbell's doing in the backcourt with his leadership. And obviously he's been around us for a long time. And so yeah, it's I would tell you we're off to a good start.
Getting ready. I guess you have begun season number 20 as the head coach at Northern Iowa. What is the biggest difference between entering season 20 and entering season number 1 for Ben Jacobson?
Yeah, you're testing me now. You're testing my memory a little bit. That I would tell you just the confidence that comes with knowing that you've got some things to able to the experiences, right? The little easier, I would say, for me to be looking and thinking big picture all the time. In year 1, I just seem to remember everything almost a little bit overwhelmed. The excitement was off the charts. That hasn't changed. The excitement for our team and the excitement for practice and the excitement for the upcoming season. And I love, I was just talking about this weekend with the recruit and his family. I love coaching. Right? I just love doing this. And that hasn't changed. But I would say it just felt like everything was going so fast in year number one, no matter what it was. It just we're now obviously after 20 years and having some terrific players and coaches around you, and you learn a lot from the guys. You learn a lot from your assistants, and so just things have slowed down a little bit.
One of those terrific players 6 months ago got to become a head coach for the first time, Ali Farouk-Manesh, and you made the trip to be there for his introduction. Why was it important for you to be there and support him on that day?
Yeah, I just for our program and for me personally, just really proud of him. And obviously you're excited for your young guys that are that are doing well and able to. This is a head coaching job at this level of Division I basketball is a heck of an accomplishment, and for Ali to be in that position and then, obviously we knew, and I knew that he was doing well, and that Colorado State, thought a lot of him, over the last, number of years that he's been there. So, that there was a pretty good chance this was going to happen at some point for him, but just really proud of him. And wanted to be there and support him. And I'm glad I did. He's doing great. He's just he's got a terrific young family, and it's so fun to be there for me. Just wanted to be there to support him.
One of the biggest personal pieces of news for you this summer, the contract extension, that 5-year rolling deal, which I guess you can certainly look at as a lifetime contract. Talking with your radio guy, J.W. Cox, last week about it, and said, look, you've been there 2 decades. And when there's a lot of times in relationships, you reach a point of, I'm kind of tired of looking at you and you're tired of looking at me, and maybe we all just need some different real estate in a lot of ways. And you're there as long as you want to be there at this point. What has it meant to you that after all this time, that relationship is still strong enough that you guys are both comfortable, both sides moving forward indefinitely?
Yeah, it means, it means everything to me that they, when I say they are our President Nook, and our new athletic director, Megan Franklin. Megan's just on the job about 1.5 years now. She was at Drake for a number of years, so she, watched our teams play and had watched me coach. So, she wasn't brand new to me as a coach, but she's just been here now for 1.5 years. And for them to get together and support our program and support me the way that they did through the process, and and wanting to get this done and get it in place, and it does. It means everything to you. And I just, I've always felt like, when you've got people that really get behind you, loyalty's it's a big deal to me, as I know it is to a lot of people. But Northern Iowa's been tremendously supportive, and they've been awfully loyal to me and our assistant coaches and our program. And so I've glad that we were able to get through that part of it and get that in place, so we can, get on to the business, coaching our team. And it wasn't going to interrupt it, no matter which way it would have turned out. But I really appreciate, Megan's leadership. She's been great since she got here, and President Nook and his wife Cheryl have been great. So, and like I said, I love doing this. And the other thing I would tell you, Jeff, is it speaks to our players that have come through here. And to me, that's everything. The players. And had it not been, we talked about Ali. If he doesn't make 1 or 2 of those shots, you don't know. It may be different if Wes Washman isn't doing what he's doing, or Kajo's not, or Jordan Eggleseder, or since I've been here for 20 years, I don't want to keep going because I'm going to forget somebody who was really good. Right? AJ Green, and he AJ plays his first exhibition or preseason game tonight down in Miami. Seth Tuttle, who's working for us now, if it isn't for the players, right? And to me, this says the most about them. What they poured into this program, and what this program meant to them, and the things that they were able to accomplish, together, as a team. And so we've got a program, and that part makes me feel the best about the contract.
To your team this year, so many guys coming back, certainly highlighted by Trey Campbell, who was third team all conference last year, a guy that, I said, Titan Anderson and seeing him in person was just such a force of nature for your team. And Trey almost, and not in any way to diminish what he did, but it was almost like he could navigate in the wake behind Titan, and because Titan took so many eyeballs from defenses, and then Trey would just kill you quietly over in the corner. But now all those eyes, so many eyes are going to be on him now. How do you expect him to be able to handle that extra burden and responsibility with your team this year?
Yeah, I really excited for Trey. I just think he's gonna thrive. He's gotten better each year. He's worked. He really works at it, and he's better today than he was a year ago, because of the time and commitment he's made to the weight room, and he's made to the basketball piece of it. So he's a better player than he was a year ago. And look, I think T he'd be the first one to tell you that he's going to miss Titan, and just like we all are. And but also when that happens, the opportunity for him to step into a different role, and that being a prominent one, and the leader of our basketball team. And man, he's just been terrific. He was good all summer. He's been even better here in September, and now our first 7 practices in early October. The way he's playing, the way he's approaching the day-to-day from a leadership standpoint. And he and Titan have very different personalities. But Trey is no less competitive than Titan, right? They just have different personalities. Whereas you mentioned it, and people saw it, man. Ty was he wore everything on his sleeve, and that was awesome for our basketball team. And Trey's personality is just much more reserved. And but you mentioned it, Jeff. He makes big shots. He makes important shots, and he always has. So he's the same competitor inside that Titan is. That you just see it differently on the outside because they've got different personalities. So I'm really excited for him. And the other thing I would mention is Trey's got 6 players around him that played for us last year. 4 of them started at different times. Will Hornseth, as I've already mentioned, is just going to be terrific. And Kyle Polk hasn't played a lot the first 2 years, but it continues to improve and is playing his best basketball. So, Trey does. He's got. We're going to miss Ty. We're going to miss Huddy, and we're going to miss Cale Schmidt. But Trey's got 6 guys around him that have played, and we liked a couple guys we added. So, I'm excited for Trey. Yeah, he's set himself up to have really step into that next role of being our best player, and he's ready for it.
It's obvious he's put in work as well. I mean, points 10 to 12.5 to 15 over his first 3 years, 3-point shooting, 33 as a freshman, 43 last year as a junior. What's the next maybe measurable leap he will take on the floor that fans will notice this year, you think?
Yeah, I think his creating, and that was one of the things that Titan did. Titan was our mismatch. Where depending on the game and who we were playing against, where we got him the basketball, that may have differed game to game, but we were going to find a way to get the ball to Ty somewhere where the opponent was going to have the hardest time with him, and he was either going to get a shot close to the rim, he was going to get fouled, or he was going to get double teamed, and he loved the third one more than the first 2, and our team knows that. But I've talked with our team a lot about that. This summer and this fall, he would have rather gotten double teamed and passed it to one of his teammates to get them an open shot. Like he just loved that part of offense. And so now very different players in terms of their position. And but thinking, thought process is similar. Like, how do we, as coaches, get Trey into spots where he's got an opportunity to get to get himself going downhill with an advantage where he's attacking, getting fouled, scoring at the rim, or he's finding teammates. And then how do we get him jump shots? Right? And that's, you mentioned it, like when you move up the scouting report, those things get harder. Finding Trey open jump shots is going to be a challenge, right? Yeah, I mean, he found some last year because not only with Titan, but also with Jacobson. We had 2 fifth-year seniors inside. So, I mean, I think Trey is he's put in a ton of time, and it's our job now as coaches. It's my job as a head coach to get him in the right positions, right, and have things organized where he is able to use all of the things that he's worked on. Right? Like I said, he's ready for it, and now we just got to get him in the right spots.
Another guy maybe last year down the scouting report a little bit, Ben Schweiger, averaged 10-5 for you, but just a Swiss Army knife, could do so much that impacted winning. What are your expectations for Ben this season in his senior year?
Yeah, his finish last year I thought was great. The last 4 or 5 weeks he had, the road trip to Murray and Belmont, the game against Belmont. I think he played all 40 minutes in that one, and we were down early, and I think 29-11 with just 10 minutes into the game, and but I think Benny played all 40 minutes that night, and I just his aggressiveness and his confidence the last 4 or 5 weeks was really impressive, and he's been able to carry that into the summer and carry it into his workouts now, and he's putting in a lot of time. His body continues to change, and he continues to get in better shape. I think that's an important piece of it for him. He's worked hard on his jump shot, and working to get it off just a little bit quicker, take a little bit of the movement out of it. So a couple of those little things, but I think the most important thing for Ben is continuing to grow in the way his belief in himself. Him knowing how much I trust him and how much I care about him, and just being able to go out and really let loose and be who he is, because he's got great size, as he's got great size, he's got great skill, and he's doing well.
Non-conference schedule, I don't know what crystal ball, genie, whatever you were able to tap into to get 7 home games. Well done on that, and 2 neutrals, 2 roads, all out in California, only taking 2 trips over there for that. What were the goals going in for a non-conference schedule, and how many boxes did you check?
Yeah, well, the first one was the home games, and that's where I mentioned Megan, our new athletic director. I talked about her a little bit. She's been instrumental in that number of 7 home games, and her support in the way of putting that together and making that happen has been really good. And I talked with our guys about it. I said, look, we got a job to do. We got 7 games at home, and there's good teams coming in here, but we've been given the support from our administration, and it's our job to make sure we take care of business. And so a lot of that 7, instead of it being 5 or maybe 6, Megan has helped to make sure it's 7, and that's a big deal. That can go a long ways for a basketball team. And then, I like our tournament in Palm Springs. Loyola Chicago has been really good for a long time, and Drew's continued to do a great job there. And I know they've got a very good team. And then it's either Tulsa or San Jose State in the second game out there. Before we play that tournament, we return a home and home to Irvine. And Irvine was, they were one of the best teams in the country last year. They just happened to miss the NCAA tournament, but they came in here and ran over us in early November last year, and like I said, had one of the best teams in the country a year ago, and so a really challenging, exciting game at Irvine, and then we'll go over to Palm Springs to play the tournament, and then St. Mary's has been a top 25, top 30 team for a long time. Randy Bennett's, of course, one of the best coaches in the country. And so, the 2 road games, Irvine and St. Mary's, and the 2 neutral games are great games, high level games. And so I love it because we've got the 7 at home, and it includes some really, really good teams. And then our 2 road and our 2 neutral are games that are good enough to be quad 1, quad 2 type games. So really like it to if you do well against it, if our team does well against that schedule, we can start conference play in a good spot from an at-large standpoint. I think the teams on our schedule are good enough to do that.
Two quick more questions before I let you get out of here. The commissioner has been very vocal and obviously changing some scheduling principles, trying to get everybody to get on the same page, I guess, to push towards let's get back to being a two-bid league. The discussion about looks like we're going to 76 next year for the NCAA tournament. What's your opinion on 76? And is this league, you feel like, in a spot where it can get back to where it's a multi-bid more often than not?
Yeah, I do like the 76, and it's hard for I'm an old school guy, so I've always felt like the number shouldn't change. When I went to 68, I was like, oh, that makes some sense, and now here we sit talking about 76, and as much as that makes me squirm just a little bit in my chair, I do like it a lot. And I think it's the best thing to do for college basketball, and then what it would mean for our league. So you think about just the last 2 years. 2 years ago, Indiana State gets in if we have 76.
Yep.
So we're a multi-bid league. This past year, if Drake doesn't win the tournament championship, if we're at 76, they're in for sure.
Right.
If we're at 68, there's some people that said, oh, they're in for sure. There's some people said 50-50. And there's some people that said they weren't getting in. Mm-hmm. And so had that gone the wrong way, right? And we can all have our opinion, but had it gone the wrong way, there was a chance they didn't get in. I would have liked to think that they were going to, but there was a chance they wouldn't. If we're at 76, they're in for sure. So, and I always feel like we're going to have anywhere from 2 to 5 teams that are in that position, right? And if we've got 2 teams in the position that Drake and Indiana State were in, we've got a third team at 76, right? You've got a little more room. So it would have guaranteed the Valley an at-large bid each of the last 2 years is what 76 would have done. So I like that part of it. And our league is still good enough, and the players are good enough, the coaching and the support. So I think we're in great position, right, when it goes to 76 to get back to getting at least one at-large bid. And then you just hope you can get 2 of them and get 3 teams in there.
A couple of years ago, I felt like the grenade got dropped on college sports with NIL, and then a couple months ago, the goalposts shift again. Now we're dealing with revenue share. How is Northern Iowa handling this new rev share era, and how is Ben Jacobson, the old school guy, handling the new world?
Yeah, it's been an adjustment for all of us, and I think for those of us that have been doing this for a long time, myself included, maybe a little bit more of an adjustment. But I tell you, it's gone. I think in some ways it's gone even better than I anticipated. The first few months and the first maybe year were a little more difficult because in my own mind I had to make the decision that this is now the way that it is. And when I say make the decision, it wasn't about the players getting paid and making some money. I'm in complete support of that. It just, as we know, right, it just took off like a rocket ship.
Right.
And now you have all of this, the hurricane going on and the chaos, and there's been some positives to it, but there's also been just a lot of there's so many challenges with it, right? And it impacts you as a head coach. It impacts your staff. It impacts your current players. It impacts their families. It impacts the players you're recruiting. It impacts their families. And so just that ripple effect. So, so I feel great about where we're at with it. I do. Our support and our rev share is in a place where we're able to. This past year 11 players that returned to our team, and 7 of them that played for us, 5 that started at different times. Our best players, all came back, and and then we've been able to, when needed, and our guys know this, when needed, a Jacob Hudson, when we need a position, when we need somebody, we've been able to go and get somebody that really fits what we're doing and fits the need that we have in the transfer portal. But our focus has remained on recruiting high school players and having our guys come back. So, it's not that it hasn't been challenging. But And I think we've positioned ourselves well.
He's Ben Jacobson, the now I guess we can call him the longtime head coach of the Northern Iowa Panthers. 19 years down, getting ready for year 20. Coach, thanks so much for the time today. Enjoy whatever, I don't know, you get maybe 10 minutes this morning of downtime and then back at it. So thanks for the time. Hope we can talk soon.
Yep. Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Thank you. There's Coach Jacobson. And yeah, it's a new world. But I'm fascinated to hear him say that he's all in on 76, because I think that's it. I think certainly Jeff Jackson all in on 76. I'm at the traditionalist of I wish it was 64 still, but at the same time, I'm looking through the prism of we got to get 2 in, and can we get more maybe? And so if that means 76, then okay, I'll grit my teeth hard and let's do it if we can do it. If we go to 76 and we still can't get 2 in, then that's a whole other conversation that we can have later. But that looks like that is coming down the pike for 2026, 27. Thank you to Ben Jacobson for being with us today. Thank you for being with us today. If you haven't done so already, please head to YouTube, subscribe to our channel there, Morning in the Valley. All our past interviews, interview clips, our preseason previews, all there, sorted out by team, so you can just lock in on your favorite Valley team. But you subscribe there, like, share, comment, helps us continue to grow this channel, and we appreciate you being with us today. Coming up Wednesday, we will continue our preseason previews for the 2025-26 season with teams TBA. We'll keep you hanging out on that, but that'll be on Wednesday. We'll be back at 9 a.m. As always, thanks for watching Morning in the Valley.